And I really do want to talk about trust. And there are a couple of things that we think about when we think about trust. Do we want performance or do we want trust? Pretty good question. And if you look throughout the world and you ask that question to certain businesses, would you rather have a really high performance from individuals or would you rather have trust? The answer really was kind of amazing to me. Most executives in the business world today, they'll come at you and they say, performance is a really, really good thing. If you have a high performer out there who can come on, give a great presentation, do what he needs to do or she needs to do, that's a wonderful thing. But if I have to pick between the two, a performance and trust, I'm going to pick trust. And the reason for that, it's pretty self-evident. When people come in and you can trust them, even if their performance isn't quite exactly where you want it to be, the performance you can improve on. You work on it, you become more competent, you perform better. But if you don't have the trust of that individual, you don't know what that individual is going to do. I mean, people with really, really high performance, sometimes they think they deserve more than they do. And they will do things that maybe they're not supposed to do. But when you can trust someone, the performance, it will come over time. And I'll give you a good example. Marty, Dan, and I've worked with Marty and Dan for a lot of years. Dan more than Marty, but both a lot of years. And I can tell you that the trust came before anything else. And I can trust Dan and Marty with my money and my wife, if I had one. I have no qualms about Marty and Dan. And the performance, because of the three of us, the performance has gotten better over time because we learn from each other. It's what we do. And then we think about Mr. Mufara. Like I said, I've known Marty and Dan for a very, very long time. I trust them implicitly. It's just no doubt. And then Mr. Mufara. Well, we've been working with Mr. Mufara 6, 7 years. I've learned to trust Mr. Mufara because of who he is, honest, clean, and ethical. And as I look at the performance of Mr. Mufara over the years, was he perfect the first 5 years? Everybody here can shake their head. No, he was not. And he admitted that to us. But he has gotten better over time. And today, because of the things he's had to go through, he is really, really good now. So the performance is there on all fronts. But the trust, without the trust, I can tell you, I would not be here. I don't think a lot of us would be here. But Mr. Mufara has earned that trust. It is there. It is in front of us. And if you've listened to him, you understand over the years, you come to trust the guy because he is honest, clean, and ethical. It's just the way he operates. And I want to give kind of a picture to everybody as to where we are in my mind's eye. And I think as I paint this picture, you'll be able to visualize it for yourself. And if you can, visualize a group of people coming up to a mountain and they want to get to the summit. They want to climb that mountain and they have a guide. Always good to have a guide. And as they come the first day to the mountain, they know it's going to be a very, very arduous trip. It's going to be difficult to get to that summit. Really, really tough to do. And as they come to the bottom of the mountain, they look up, they can't see anything. It is cloud cover from top to bottom, and it is thick. They can hardly see in front of them. But they have a guide, and they all decide, okay, we're going to go. We're going to get to that summit. We will get there. So they start the journey, and they start up the mountain. And as they go up the mountain, it's really a tough climb. This isn't a day climb. This isn't an hour or a day climb. This takes time to get to the top. And as they're going up, each day they get a little better in shape as far as climbing, and they can go further and further and further. And as they go, they'll get to night, they'll camp out, they'll sleep, they'll get up the next day, have some breakfast, go to the next level. And they do this day after day after day. And here's the thing. Every once in a while, the clouds lift a little bit and they can see a little further in front of them. But it always comes back down, and it's really, really hard to see the top. And there comes a day when they finish the climb and they're ready to bed down for the night. And you have a group of people after 3, 4, 5, 6 days, they're going, this is crazy. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going down. I'm done. And the guide that's there, he doesn't really say anything. He says, it's your choice. You get to decide if you want to continue up or if you want to go down. And a few of those individuals, they go, well, okay, I'm out of here. I'm down. And they go down. And then the next day comes in and they go a little further. And the clouds are getting thicker and thicker. And they can barely see, but they have a guide and they follow the guide up. And they get to a point where, again, they bed down and there's another group of people. It's really, really hard. This is a tough climb. It is not easy to do. And another group of people say, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And what you visualize in your mind is usually what you're going to do. And when that word can't comes in, they can't, and they go down. And again, the guide goes, well, I can appreciate that. It's a hard journey. If you have to go down, go down. He's just a guide. He doesn't make the decisions for them. And they go back down. And then the group that sticks with the guide, they go another day, another 2 days. And it's the cloud cover is just getting so thick, they can barely see a foot in front of them. And the guide says, listen, we're going to bed down tonight. This is as far as we go today. And everybody is just exhausted. They're getting very, very high. It's been a long, hard climb. They're exhausted. They bed down and they're out. They go to sleep. And then something really, really amazing happens. As they wake up in the morning, they can actually see sunshine coming into their tent. They're going, wow, this is kind of cool. We haven't been able to see for days and days and days. We're going to be able to see today. So they come out of their tent. It is crystal clear. And they look up and they see the guide. He's on the summit. And they're going, whoa, this is really, really cool. And the guide goes, come on up. See what you've done. And they get up there and they're at the summit and they can see forever and ever and ever. And then we think about Mr. Mufara and the journey and where we're at. We're right there. The sunshine is about to come in. And when you get to the top of the summit, everybody has a kind of a different description of what they see. But in reality, what they're seeing is freedom. They have the ability to find financial independence and be able to live the lifestyle they want to live. And it is so awesome. And again, it's described in many different tongues in many different ways. But the bottom line, it is freedom. And the guide, he says, look what you've done. Look what's in front of you. Unlimited. You have no limitations right now. You can do whatever you want to do. And it's because they stuck it out. They didn't lose hope. And they followed the guide all the way up. It's a really, really cool place to be. I think we're just about there. I think the light is about to break through and we're going to be able to look up and see the guide and he's going to go, come on, take a look. You're going to love the view. And obviously, when I think about the guide, I'm thinking about Ash Mufara. He never forces us to do anything, but he will guide us to that place where we can see forever. And I want to add one other thing before I turn it back over to Oliver. In my younger days, I had a teacher. This teacher was absolutely brilliant. And Dan knows who I'm talking about. He had the same teacher. He was very, very good. And he had degree on top of degree on top of degree. Some of the degrees he had, I had no clue what they were. If you're in academia, you would know what they are, but he had them just coming out every way. And he was just very, very good. And over time, I became friends with this gentleman. He was a professor, and the conversation went toward his career and what he had done. And I asked him, I said, it's pretty amazing all the degrees you have and what you've done. And I asked him, how did you do this? And to my surprise, he answered me. And he said, Mike, this really doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. Really doesn't. If you come in and you learn the language and understand what the language is, and then you learn how to articulate it, doesn't matter how smart you are, you just have to be able to put the work in and learn the language, learn how to articulate what you've learned. And if you can do that, anybody can do what I've done. The problem is most people aren't willing to do that. And again, this individual, he was really, really smart, guys. And I said, how do you relate to people when you talk to them, when you teach them? And he said, I've done this for a very, very long time. I know the language. I know more than most. And I can manipulate people because of what I know. I just know more than them. It's very, very easy to manipulate people. So you will be able to do that once you come in. You learn the language. You learn what it means. You learn how to articulate it. You can manipulate. But he said, here's the real key. It's the heart that you have. You never want to come in and manipulate people. You want to guide people. You want to take them to a higher level. You want to help humanity. You don't want to squash humanity. So it really comes down to the heart of the individual, and it's important that you have the heart to help, never manipulate. And again, he was a very, very good teacher. He was a guide. He helped people get to a higher level, higher than they thought they could go. And because of that, they had richer lives. Now, when I talk about this individual, does that bring anybody to mind? Yeah, it does. We have a tremendous guide right now, and it's really, really important. Understand what he's doing, understand the language, and then trust him, because he's been to the summit over 100 times in his mind. He knows how to get there, and he is going to bring us there. It's not that we don't do anything. We have to climb the mountain. We have to make the journey, but he will guide us to that place where it's just a wonderful place to be. And I believe that place is going to be coming very, very quickly, regardless of what anybody says.